let's thank our sponsors, and also want to mention our sponsors, Focus USA, Wyland, Alliant, our Gold, Silver, Adstra, Claritas, Epsilon, and Sarista, and our bronze level sponsors, Japs Olson, Complete Mailing List, and Summer Friday. We appreciate those sponsors. They allow us to do all the work of the Marketing Club of New York. And I want to mention we have a couple of big events coming up this fall. In September, on the 20th, we're going to have our annual Privacy Summit, Navigating the Privacy Landscape. Bill McGowan from Axiom has been putting that all together. It's going to be at Arno's Restaurant on 38th Street in Manhattan, great location. And that's 11:30 start. And then in early November, November 2nd, we're going to have our 39th annual Silver Apple Awards Gala. That's going to be at the Hard Rock Cafe right in Times Square. And we'll have more information on that. And think if you've got a nomination for the program, we're accepting nominations for the award program right now. Now, I want to thank a couple of people, Teresa St. Jacques of Associated Conference Group and their team helping us put this together, Terry Gerber from IBM, and Casey Gaynor from our MCNY team, Alicia Wiedemann, our president, and also thank from CBSI, Jack Horner and Gerard Garofalo for their help in helping me get this put together. So let's welcome Chris Bontempo. He is a Chief Marketing Officer for IBM America, where he leads all aspects of marketing for IBM across the United States, Canada, and Latin America. Prior, he was responsible for IBM Cloud and cognitive software marketing at IBM. He joined the firm in 2005. He's a graduate of Amherst College and Columbia Business School. Chris, welcome. Great to see you today. Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Ken. Thanks for having me. Thrilled to be here.
Great. Now, Chris, and you got a presentation for us, but tell us a little bit about your year. You've been launching the Watson X AI program this month, and tell us a little bit about the launch.
Sure. It's been super exciting. I think everybody knows, right? Generative AI, foundation models, large language models have entered the market in a big way. ChatGPT is probably what everybody knows, that arrived on our doorsteps in November and December of last year. And it's just opened up this amazing conversation out in the market around the power of AI to transform literally every knowledge worker role out there. And so what we've done here at IBM is, of course, we've been in AI for a long time with the Watson brand that you may be familiar with. I'll talk about it in a little bit, but we launched Watson X, which is our new AI product family for not just generative AI, but all types of AI that businesses can use to transform in this AI first era. So we launched it in G8 on July 4th. We gave a preview at Think in May, but we've done everything that you do in a big launch, Ken. It's been pretty exciting. And I've been on the road talking to clients about what AI can do for their business and how IBM can help. So it's been pretty exciting over the last month.
Would you tell us a little bit about your career at IBM? You've had a couple of major responsibilities leading to the CMO position.
Yeah, I've been 18. I'm one of those people. I've been 18 years at IBM, and was one of those people who thought I'd stay for 5 and then go off to do different things. And lo and behold, here I am. I think IBM is one of those places I've learned in my career. I started off in competitive intelligence. I moved into brand marketing and then helped us launch the Smarter Planet brand campaign, which some people might remember. And then I moved back into market intelligence for the Americas after that. I did a short shift as John Iwata's executive assistant. He was our head of marketing and comms back in the day. And then over the last, say, 10 years, I've been back in the geography leading cybersecurity marketing, cloud marketing, and then software marketing for us. And I took this role as CMO and Chief Communications Officer now 2 years ago. So it's been a long journey at IBM. The great thing about places like IBM is literally every marketing and comms job you can imagine exists within the company. And so you can build a whole career here on the marketing and comm side, just moving from different role to different role, figure out what path you want to be on. You can go make it happen at a place like this. So it's been a lot of fun.
That's great. So I mentioned to our audience, we appreciate you joining us. If you have a question, you can write it in on the chat feature, and I'll recognize that. And at the end, we may be able to recognize a couple of people to ask questions directly. But now Chris has got a presentation for us, so let's have a chance to watch that.
Sure, thanks, Ken. Look, I'm going to go through a few charts. Well, there's a lot of charts, but I'll go very quickly in the presentation. But please tee up questions in the chat, and also we'll have plenty of time for discussion after you go through a few charts. But what I want to walk you through today is, like I said, IBM, I've been at IBM for 18 years. IBM's 112 years old, right? And so you don't get to be 112 without constantly and very logically and rationally transforming along the way, right? So what we're going to walk through is kind of the evolution and transformation periods of IBM, and then how over the last 2 years we launched a new brand campaign to reintroduce IBM in the era of hybrid cloud and AI to customers. And then this, just over the last month, how we launched a new product called Watson X. So we'll walk through that. So if you go to the next one, please. Look, IBM has been in a lot of businesses over the years, right? So typewriters, the Selectric, we had punch cards before this. If we go to the next chart, we were in, this is from, obviously a film, but it's, we were in the punch card business. We went into the mainframe era, leading the world into enterprise computing. If we go to the next chart, please, we got into client server in the 90s and into 2000. We launched a campaign called e-business to help clients move their businesses and all their business process onto the internet. And then, more than 10 years ago now, we introduced the world to artificial intelligence. And we did this with, building a AI supercomputer that could compete using natural language processing on Jeopardy. So you see here Ken Jennings, who I always remember the name of Ken Jennings, and I can never remember the name of the other contestant that Watson beat on Jeopardy. But this was one of those landmark moments in technology where people saw the power of tech in a very accessible way, playing Jeopardy and beating two grand champions in the matchups there over the course of a week. And so if you think about the eras of IBM, we had, we had the punch card era, we had the mainframe era, we had the e-business era, and now we're in this era of hybrid cloud and AI. And IBM has transformed for each of those eras, and it's no exception now, right? So if we go to the next chart, please. Arvind Krishna, our CEO, has been very clear with everybody, with the market, with our clients, with our business partners, and with IBMers that, the company's strategy since he took over is to lead in the era of hybrid cloud and artificial intelligence. And we've made the strategic moves to support that. So we bought Red Hat to be our hybrid cloud platform for $34 billion. We spun off our outsourcing business into a standalone company called Kyndryl now more than 2 years ago. And we've been acquiring companies, right? React is one example that's shown on this chart, but we've been acquiring, 20 companies every year to build up the portfolio and rebuild the new IBM. So if we go to the next chart, what does this mean as a marketer? Right. So as a marketing leader, as a CMO, when you go through these kind of fundamental transformations of your business, you have to, as you're reinventing yourself, you have to reintroduce yourself in the company to the world so that people know, where you're aiming, what you stand for, and what you're going to be doing. And so this is what we've done over the last 2 years at IBM. So we had to, I talk to clients a lot, and some of them will say, IBM, the mainframe company. True, we still, the Z16 is the most powerful computing system on the planet for transaction processing, right? They may say, oh, you're in the client server business, servers and storage. It's true. We still do power systems and storage. Best platforms in the world for SAP, Oracle, those kind of workloads. But really what we do now is we are a hybrid cloud and AI company. And we have to tell the world about that. And you do that with the combination of communications and marketing, using all the tools at your disposal as a CMO. And so what we'll walk through a little bit is what that looks like from a campaign perspective. This is not just that you're going to go in there and talk about IBM, but you're going to talk about IBM's place in the world and what we're helping clients with, okay? And context is key, right? So, what did we see coming out of COVID? The world was reshaped literally overnight by COVID, and my peers, as CMOs at other organizations, we all lived this together, which was you had to immediately shift your marketing mix to something digital. You had to get, stop and shutter in face-to-face events. You had to enable a sales force to be able to sell digitally, right? You had to do all this stuff overnight. And so when I talk to clients, literally every role, not just marketing, but in their organizations, had some aspect of digital transformation to it. So what we say, and when I talk to clients, 10 years of digital transformation had to happen in a year in the COVID era. And it did. And most of our peers, this is what they did. And then when I talk to clients, I also say, by the way, the problem that you just created for yourself, no matter what role you have, is your C-suite now realizes you can do 10 years of digital transformation in 1 year, and they expect that pace from you. So now the imperative when we talk to clients is, how do I keep up that relentless pace of transformation, of digital acceleration in an era of hybrid cloud and AI where I've got these new technologies to apply? And so it's getting really interesting contextually out in the market. I love this because this kind of set us on the path for the brand campaign that we did. So we surveyed, a couple thousand clients. And what did they tell us? So 70% of CIOs, chief information officers, CTOs, developers, and IT decision makers self-identified as full of ideas to unleash in their organizations. At the same time, I do a ton of external speaking engagements. And I always start by asking the audience, how many of you woke up this morning and thought, I'm going to go be a change agent, an idea person in my job when I get to work today? And nobody raises their hands. So 70% self-identify as full of ideas, ready to drive transformation. And yet when they get to their office and start working with their teams, they don't do it. They don't feel empowered to do it. They don't feel like they can be as creative as they need to be. And so as a marketer, it's a wonderful tension to play off of, right? So how can I help you unleash the creative side in your part of the business, right? So it's this mix of creativity and business outcome, business acumen and outcome that we want to unleash in our client base. And, from a messaging perspective as a marketer, it's a beautiful thing. You create some tension and you come in and you have some solutions to help them unleash that creativity. So I think the next one, what was the brand campaign that we came up with? Well, we built it on the heritage of IBM, right? As I talked about over the years, we help solve business problems, business challenges, help companies transform through the creative application of technology, whether that's, the Sabre airline booking system that we worked on in the 60s, landing on the moon, the ATM, all of these innovations that IBM helped bring to the market to transform business, right? So you go to the next one. Our theme, our brand campaign, is called Let's Create. It's very intentional. You can see some of the creative on the chart here. But Let's Create is an invitation for our clients and partners to engage with IBM in co-creation to create that thing that's going to change everything for them in their organization, in their business, to deliver on that expectation and promise of digital transformation, accelerated digital transformation. We'll give you an example. I think the next one is, if I'm correct, is a little more creative in the video side. All right. Well, I'm wrong. So it goes, as we launch the brand campaign, as a marketer, what are you accountable for? You're accountable for top line awareness, generating awareness and consideration at the brand level, so people will consider IBM. But you always have to tie to the demand generation side and an outcome for the business. It's going to result in pipeline and ultimately win revenue for the products that you have. And so when we did Let's Create, we delivered a campaign that works at the brand level and then also plugs all the way down to demand. And then when I show you Watson X, you'll see how we've plumbed it all together specifically for a new product offering. And so, but these are the tasks of the marketer. Yeah. So, and look, as a recovering musician, I love these. That was like our hype video that we used at IBM Think last year to get everybody excited as we launched the brand campaign. But you can see as we're talking about it, it's cybersecurity, it's our data and AI solutions, it's our automation solutions, it's the systems on the server and storage side. It's all the services to help you make sense of it. So, we gave clients this invitation to create. Let's create your headline together. And we literally plumb this all the way through to sales, right? So sellers could go into clients and, hey, have you seen the, Let's Create campaign that we were running at, US Open, in the NFL ads, in Wimbledon, all the different places that we show up on social, LinkedIn, Twitter, et cetera. And it's, what can we do with you to help create the next era of your business? Okay, if you're a cybersecurity, right? Here we go. Keep going. Yeah, that was the initial ad that we launched, the TV spot that we launched when we launched Let's Create out into the world. So you can see like the power of the brand platform. And I have to tell you, I'm a kind of I call myself a forward deployed marketer, meaning I try to spend as much time as possible out with clients and with our sales force. So I think my task as a marketer is to be the voice of the client back into IBM so that, we can tune our message and our products and our solutions to what clients need. I believe that marketers, there should be no daylight between marketing and sales so that every seller knows what marketing is doing. And my job is to energize our ecosystem of partners around the Americas, right? So those three core tenets. And I'll tell you, when we did Let's Create and put this in the hands of our sellers, they loved it because it was a bit of a blank canvas, but with a message that resonated with a client and an invitation for a deeper discussion with the client around how they could work together with IBM to solve challenges in the organization. So Let's Create, the canvas that Let's Create gave them was super helpful. we'll give you an example here. Let's create experiences that ace it with fans. So if you know IBM, our big sponsorships that we do are Wimbledon tennis. We just wrapped on that, very successful again for more than 30 years with Wimbledon. The Masters golf, more than 30 years with the Masters. And it's not just advertising and sponsorship, it's actually the adoption and application of technology to transform the fan experience, whether it's in person or digitally for these properties. And then also the US Open here in New York. And so, you know, one of the things that we've been working on over the years with the US Open is how we can use IBM technology to fundamentally transform the fan experience. I think the next one, if we go ahead, is...
When most people think of the US Open, they think of this. But where you see tennis, IBM sees data.
Data?
That's right. Over the course of this year's US Open, IBM will capture and analyze more than 7 million data points. Everything from score stats and serve speeds to player momentum and media commentary.
Well, data is great and all, but I need actual insight.
You mean like the likelihood you're going to win your next match?
Wait, you can know that?
Yep, I even know why. You see, IBM Consulting worked with the US Open to build a platform of innovation. It uses hybrid cloud and AI to transport massive quantities of tennis data into match insights for all of the biggest matches.
Oh, like the likelihood to win predictions.
Yeah, or the IBM Power Index, which measures player momentum throughout the US Open. And they don't stop there. With Win Factors, IBM is breaking open the black box of AI with something called explainability, sharing the actual reasoning behind Watson's conclusions.
Kind of like putting the why in AI.
Hybrid cloud and AI, two ways IBM is changing the game and changing the world.
Okay, so look, it's really exciting work to do with the US Open. But the reason we do it is so that we can showcase to our clients who see that on TV, who see it at the match experience, spark their imagination and their creativity. If IBM can do this with all the millions of data points flowing into the US Open in real time so that fans can see this and predict winners, predict outcomes, what could they do for my business? So it works really well for us. I'll just tell you, as we've started deploying Watson X out into the market, like at Wimbledon, Watson X was actually able to predict that Alcaraz was going to win the tournament in a epic match over Nadal there. So or over Djokovic. You know, it's really exciting application of technology that's accessible to everybody. All right, so if we go to the next one, you know, you got to explain this stuff. Right. So, you know, everybody's going, my kids all get educated on YouTube, probably pretty soon on TikTok too. But, you know, we use these channels like our IBM Tech channel on YouTube with whiteboarding, and we call them lightboarding sessions like you see here to showcase, you know, very complicated technology topics, but make them accessible and understandable. It's a key part of what we need to do. All right. So, I'm going to pivot a little bit to the Watson X launch because this is the most important thing happening in the market right now, and every marketer needs to understand what's happening with AI and the application of AI to all knowledge worker roles, but especially the role of the marketer. So ChatGPT was a moment. It was a moment in the world, in the technology market, but for everybody. And what it did was it made AI understandable or accessible to at the consumer level to individuals. And it's triggered this tidal wave of adoption of AI and kicking the tires on AI. So when we survey our clients, 80%, and it's really 100%, are working with or looking at how to leverage foundation models, which is a different, you know, different than the traditional AI of the past in their businesses. It could have a huge impact on GDP, right? Driving growth by radically improving productivity of workers. And then, you know, from a technology perspective and investment, AI driven or AI related investment is just going to be a huge part of the market by 2025. So it's a tidal shift in prioritization in organizations now. If you go to the next one, our perspective at IBM is we're moving from an era where people used to just kind of sprinkle the magical AI pixie dust on top of what they were currently doing, claim it's AI, to an era where organizations are now going to be able to build on with AI as the foundational platform of what they're doing. So an AI plus, or what we call an AI first world. And in the technology business, when you talk to technology decision makers, they get this, right? Because we went cloud first years ago. Now, we didn't do cloud first the way people thought we would. Cloud first had to become cloud smart. But fundamentally, they understand that just like most of what you're building new is building on the cloud these days, you're going to be building new on AI first, on an AI platform and foundation that's going to be fundamental to delivery of new services, new products, new offerings out into the market. And it's every domain, every knowledge worker role, right? It's going to drive employee productivity gains that are pretty, I mean, they're not just substantial, but they're kind of unfathomable via any other way. Okay, so, 40% of sales and marketing execs, like in roles like mine, are embracing generative AI. And we'll talk a couple examples there. But this is, things like content creation for a marketer, critical to what we do. But you can use AI to really drastically cut costs, improve productivity, and get better outcomes, more consistent outcomes. So it's going to be fascinating to watch this. So if you go to the next one, please. At the same time, in business, this is where IBM's sweet spot is. When I talk to clients, there's a lot of concern, right? Just playing around with ChatGPT is very different than deploying AI in your business where your brand can be put at risk. And 80% of the business leaders we talk to see at least one, and usually multiple, ethical concerns with the deployment of AI at scale in organizations. So there's the explainability of the outcomes and results, the safety and ethical aspects of it. There's bias. So will bias seep into the outcomes from the AI that I'm deploying? And can I trust the results, right? We all heard of hallucinations from ChatGPT. Those things are real. And so in a business, you can't risk your brand. If you can't, you need to be able to explain the results. You need to be able to show that you're tracking and accounting for model drift and bias seeping in. You've got to protect these models from poisoning, and you've got to ultimately be able to trust the results, right? So the AI needs to be trustworthy, accurate, and do amazing things for you, right? This is the fundamental question in business. And so this is why we introduced an extension of the Watson brand, which was our original brand in AI. And now we've introduced Watson X. So Watson X is our platform for AI and data. And it has kind of three fundamental components, which are interesting because there's the kind of model studio, which everybody's going to have. That's called .ai. That's where your developers are going to go in and start working with the AI foundation models, LLMs, et cetera. But you also need a data platform to be able to, give access to the data you need to fuel these models. That's what we call .data. But the key in the enterprise is governance to manage risk, ensure compliance, and be responsible, transparent, and explainable in your AI. So we have a whole set of offerings and products, solutions that we call .governance that delivers this for organizations. It is the conversation that everybody wants to have, and they need to have it. You're starting to see regulation for AI come in, right? So what are we going to deliver? Open, trusted, targeted AI for business that can empower knowledge workers in the organizations to do amazing things. Okay, so this is kind of where we're headed, WatsonX.ai and .data just launched GA. We're playing with customers that are using them now. And .governance comes out in October. So this is what my task as a marketer and CMO is to raise awareness and consideration of IBM in the AI space in this era of generative AI, with a lot of promise bubbling up around, triggered by ChatGPT, and then delivering marketing and comms messaging campaigns, value props that can drive this business forward for IBM while solving, what frankly our clients are asking us to solve for them. All right, so if we go to the next one, I think this might be the ad.
Hello, how can I help you?
When it comes to AI, we are at the end of the beginning. Introducing Watson X. It's going to change customer engagement. It'll shift the approach to automation, cybersecurity, and IT. It'll reshape productivity. When it comes to thinking AI first, you need a partner with extensive enterprise experience that can help you access your data through a single interface. This isn't clicking go and hoping for the best. This is about building trusted insights faster. This isn't unexplainable AI. This is AI trained and tuned on data from across your business with built-in governance. This isn't scrapping what you already have. This is augmenting with digital labor, taking the burden out of repetitive tasks and freeing people up to do incredible things. This is your next phase of AI, and it's going to change how your business does business. Let's create.
So I think what you can see here is how we've merged kind of the Let's Create brand campaign, and now, launched Watson X into the world as, what's going to be the platform for your creativity, no matter what knowledge worker role you have, whether it's in IT, cybersecurity, development, new product creation, CTOs, HR, legal, like all of these roles are going to be transformed by AI. Watson X, merged is that platform for creativity in an AI first world. You can tell, Ken, like I've practiced this stuff, so I know we're all on message here at IBM on this one. Orienting a whole sales force in our ecosystem around this has been a challenge, has been what we've been doing over the last few months. And I think, it's what we're going to be doing over the next year, is just bringing this Watson X product family to market with, thank goodness we did that brand campaign last year, right? To give people the platform and that invitation to create. So I know we're going to open it up for questions, discussion. There's 3 QR codes on here. One, you can learn more about Watson X, and as a marketer, go in and play with it, right? That's the first one. You want to go deep on the US Open Tennis partnership, it's here. And then there's a lot of great research that we do, just thought leadership stuff that you can go in and think about how, you fit into this. That's from the IBM Institute for Business Value, and we have a CMO track in there. So it's useful stuff for people. If anybody wants to join us at the US Open, let me know, because we'll showcase the tech there, and would love to host anybody here out at the Open this year. So Ken, that's kind of the presentation part. I'll hand it over to you. I know we've got questions, and I'm sure the audience has questions too.
Well, Chris, that's great. Great presentation. I guess, Chat GPT over the last year, and then the 60 Minutes talk on Bard really dominated the business news. How does Watson X compare to AI providers like that?
Yeah, it's a good question. It's the number one question I get out in the market from clients. So when you're using ChatGPT, you are an AI user, right? You're typing into a prompt. Your information goes into, OpenAI, into their black box AI, and gives you back a result. The result is usually pretty interesting. It comes back with 100% confidence of something that's probably 80% accurate. Okay, you're a user. And when I talk to our clients, what we talk to them about is being an AI value creator. So the differentiation is that Watson X is a platform for value creation and capture using artificial intelligence that organizations can adopt and start to develop their next gen of services on. And in that transaction, they will see results that are explainable, that they can show to compliance and risk departments, that can show which data was used, what the model was doing, how risky the model was in terms of bias and other, ethical factors that you can then report out on. And at the same time, it's giving you amazing things that, all these models are doing, right? Summarization, creation of new, generating new text, new video, new whatever you've asked it for. But it shifts the conversation from just being a user to generating actual value from it and capturing that value. Because I guarantee you in that transaction with ChatGPT, the user is not capturing most of the value in that transaction over the long run.
Very good. And Chris, maybe we could go through a few applications of Watson X of some of the industries that we work with. Number one in the Marketing Club of New York might be digital advertising, supporting programmatics, all of the ads that targeting ads for mobile and websites. How does Watson X support that kind of advertising and programmatic?
Yeah, I mean, so the short answer is we're doing a ton of work in this space. In June, we announced we've had a long-standing partnership with Adobe, but we announced a deepening of that partnership where Watson X will be, foundational to the Adobe marketing suite. They're doing stuff with Sensei and, a couple other things, and Watson X will be used for all the aspects of the Adobe marketing suite. But the longer answer is we've long used AI and machine learning for things like ad targeting, media buying. We've adopted it here at IBM to optimize our media buying with our agency partners over at 8Bar at Ogilvy. And I think the longer answer is, we're going to keep pushing the envelope on use cases for generative AI and marketing within the marketing and comms function here. We're using, we're one of the test cases as in our partnership with Adobe for pushing the envelope on content management, content creation with Adobe for our own internal use for it within the IBM M&C function. And as we do that, we've got a consulting practice for generative AI that's going to bring that stuff to market with for our clients. So I think we're really in use a baseball analogy, right? We're in the first inning of a 9-inning game here. And I think for me, I always say for me to tell somebody what this is gonna look like in 5 years is pretty presumptuous. And we can't predict exactly all the creativity that's gonna happen in this market.
Very good. I got to say, I'm proud that we have one of my professors from Providence College, my alma mater, Dan Horn. He's had a long career in teaching marketing, and glad to have Professor Dan Horn join us today. Hey, tell us a little bit, another application, in our company, we do a lot in the travel support and the credit card business. What are some of the areas that Watson X might support travel, airlines, car rentals, and fitting it all into the payment system?
Yeah, so on the travel side, I think it's going to be super interesting, right? So some of the things that you're going to want in the travel and transportation, hospitality industries are things that generative AI is super good at, right? So crafting, creating itineraries, summarizing, lots of inputs into a coherent agenda, itinerary, recommendation engines. That's where Watson X and generative AI in general is really going to help in that industry. So if you're looking to plan a trip, It's finding places to go. It's making recommendations on hotels. It's summarizing the entire itinerary and all the detail down to the key stuff that that you need to know. On payments, I mean, there's a ton going on. Financial services tends to be the early/first adopters of transformative technology. And IBM, it's also IBM's #1 industry vertical. So we're working through a ton of different use cases, pilots with our client base. One of the things that we talked about last year, and that's now kind of hyper-powered, is being able to use AI to do real-time fraud detection on transactions as they're going through the banking system, right? So the IBM Z16 mainframe has a special Telum chip that has an AI co-processor on it that can literally real-time score 100% of transactions that go through the CPU for fraud detection. Not possible before that CPU. And so those kind of use cases are going to be incredibly important for us in the cybersecurity realm and in the crime prevention and fraud detection space. I was talking with a client yesterday who's doing, summarization of earnings reports, right? So getting a transcript of, or even doing like natural language processing on voice from an earnings call or an investor meeting, and real time coming up with a summary of that. Like, these things for investors are really important, and it just gives it, it's going to broaden accessibility to all sorts of services in the financial realm. So it's a couple of examples. Again, it's going to be adopted everywhere, and it's going to change literally every role.
Very good. And on Knowledge, another guest, John Okowski, who's the president of the Independent Bankers Association, New York State, appreciate his joining us. And what do you see about how banks can use AI, both the smaller banks trying to keep up and the big banks and serving customers? And what have customers really found they appreciate as far as AI capability and what Watson could provide them?
Yeah, I think there's kind of two parts to this, Ken. Like the first part is AI and ML have actually been in the background of a lot of the great services that you've been getting from your bank over the last, 5 years. So things like, when you get your fraud alert from your bank, like there's a ton of AI or ML that's happening in the background to get that fraud alert, to detect the fraud and then give you the alert and start automating, shutting down different things to protect consumers. And that's for large banks and small banks, right? Everybody is adopting that. I think what you're going to see is actually a leveling of the playing field a bit for some of these services between small banks and large banks. So we have, I think, 15,000 customers now who are using our AI-powered customer service chatbot called Watson Assistant, from the biggest financial institutions in the world to community banks and credit unions, right? And you train Watson Assistant on your own customer service interactions and put it in the hands of your customer service people so that they can contain calls within, contain calls to directly answer the questions that are getting asked and handle 95% of those queries without human intervention. So your people that you're paying, salaries to can handle the higher value ones, the ones that really matter and that require human attention. And you can contain, up to 95% of your calls that way and reduce the average time you're spending on those calls from, 15 minutes down to less than a minute. So that's kind of the use case that I think every bank is going to have to adopt, no matter what size you are. And the technology is accessible. It's easy to use, and there's proof points at every level of banking.
And certainly during the pandemic, IBM and all sorts of providers worked with their clients to help them. You mentioned that earlier. And customer service is one of the areas that everyone's worked to see if AI can help take care of some of the routine questions and then focus the experienced representatives on more difficult tasks. How does Watson help in a variety of customer service opportunities?
Yeah, I mean, it is, you know, handling, you can apply AI, Watson, to these kind of interactions to handle the routine, to handle the, you know, the clients I talk to say, if I see it once, handle it with a human. If I see it twice, I'm going to try to automate it. And so can we automate as many of those routine kind of customer queries? And if you go through all your call logs and scripts, you'll see 80 to 90% of the interactions follow a certain pattern. They're answering the same questions over and over and over again. And then what you can do is tie the chatbot Watson Assistant to the back end of your business process and start triggering off workflows to automate as much of the task that needs to get accomplished while you're having that client interaction. That's where we're really seeing a lot of value. And I think there's a question in the chat, you know, is it affordable? I mean, the thing is, yes, the stuff pays for itself because of the efficiency and productivity gains that you get, no matter what size bank you are. Right? So I think it is actually super accessible for clients of all sizes. I think we're just at the cusp of it. I'll give you another example, Ken. So like in cybersecurity, what are we going to start to see? And we're building this into the product set. So you're going to start to see the SOC analyst who has an incident that they're trying to take care of. What do they have to do now? They have to like manually go through all the threat intelligence. They have to then go search for the needle in the proverbial haystack for the indicators of compromise of that attack within all the, you know, volumes of data that they get. Then they have to build a case in their tools to summarize what's happening. Then they have to take the case and build a summary report for their C-suite so that they know what's happening, and then they need to go take action. Generative AI in the hands of the SOC analyst, it's going to do AI-powered alert triage. So the alerts come in, 95% of them are handled automatically by the system. It'll focus in on the 5% that really need action. It'll automate the investigation so that the system searches for the needle in the haystack and finds it and puts it in the hands of the SOC analyst for confirmation. It'll do automatic case summarization. And the analyst will be able to query to ask for clarification or do editing on the case summary, but the case summary will be written, you know, for it. How many SOC analysts, I asked this of a crowd last week in Cincinnati, how many SOC analysts are, you know, great George Orwell type writers? None. Like writing is not a core competency for a SOC analyst, right? So this is how it's going to change that role and make it better for the people doing that role. And then when you actually have to take an action, you know, you'll get to that process of being able to take the action within minutes rather than days or weeks. And then it'll automate, you use AI to automate all the remedial actions you'll need to take. These things are happening now in the customer base. And when you think about it, a workflow from start to finish like that, you really start to see the power of generative AI.
Absolutely. Hey, Chris, we just got about less than 10 minutes left. I just wanted to go back to some of the extraordinary work that IBM is doing. You mentioned the work with Wimbledon and the Masters Golf Tournament, the upcoming US Open. Just tell us a little bit about what's involved and what you're doing for those major events.
Yeah, so it's a super, from a marketer's perspective, it's a super interesting space to be in. We have long-standing, like I said, 30+ year relationships with these organizations. And IBM won't invest in a sponsorship like this unless there's a deep technological relationship. So it starts with an understanding of their business and then how IBM technology can help transform that business and deliver kind of next-gen services for them. So for instance, the US Open, you know, I'm a New Yorker. It is the, you know, for late August, early September, it is the event in the city. People come from over the 2 weeks. It's the largest attended sporting event in the world because it goes for 2 weeks and you fit everybody into, out there in Flushing. And so what we do for them is we run the data center in the basement of Arthur Ashe that takes in all the data feeds from all the different courts. And those data feeds are video, it's crowd noise, it's video, audio, it's, match data. You're tracking the trajectory of the shots, you're tracking the, movement of the players. All that stuff goes into the data center, gets put out to the IBM cloud. Eventually, then we use, Watson X. We use our analytics capabilities to make sense of all that data. And then, with our IBM consulting team, we've built a bunch of services for the Open so that fans can get access to the data, the analytics that we're using to kind of, assess, who's winning, how momentum is changing in a match. We protect the Open over the course of the 2 weeks using IBM cybersecurity capabilities. So over the course of the 2 weeks of the Open, there will be 40 million attacks on the Open infrastructure. Wow. Okay, because people want the hackers are trying to get in. It's high profile. There's player data. There's a ton of transactions going through the Open infrastructure. They want to break in. And so, we pull all that stuff together into a comprehensive technological platform for the USTA. They use it for the on-site experience. They use it for the fan experience in the app. If you don't have the app, download the app. It's fantastic. ESPN analysts use it to help assess, do their in-match analysis. And all of that is delivered by IBM. And we talk about it at the Open, with bring customers into suites. We'll show it to our top clients. We'll show it to the press, media. It is a fantastic showcase for us. And it's in partnership with the USTA, and they get a ton of business value out of that partnership too. Yeah, the app is, there's a question in the chat. The app is just if you go in the App Store and look for the US Open, it's the US Open app. It's very easy to find and use.
There you go. And Chris, if someone from one of the companies watching or may watch this down the road, members of the Marketing Club of New York, is there a good way to try out IBM Watson? Is there a service that that companies could start out with and see the value?
Yeah, so it's ibm.com/WatsonX. And you can sign up for a free trial, an unlimited trial, right? So it just goes on forever, and start kicking the tires on it, using it. You can get into the Model Studio. We have use cases in there for marketers and others so you can kind of test it out. But just start playing with it. My advice to any marketer right now is to get into generative AI and start playing with it. Okay, whether it's, I would prefer for you to play with it with Watson X, that would be great. But just start using it and you can kind of see how it's going to transform marketing and comms for us. But you got to start somewhere. So start playing and see where you end up.
And Chris, maybe we're so appreciative of Chris Bontempo, Chief Marketing Officer, IBM Americas, joining us today. Where is AI going? What do you think our discussion of this might be covering a couple of years from now?
Yeah, I think, we need to be humble in the face of transformative technology, right? So I will give you my prediction, knowing that all predictions are wrong in some ways. But I'm very confident in saying we're all going to be, generative AI is going to change every role in the enterprise, in organizations. I think we're going to get to a point where we're comfortable partnering with artificial intelligence for key parts of every knowledge worker role. We're not going to be hands off, right? We can't be. you're always going to have people in the loop. But I think we're going to see how, as creatives, AI is going to help you create. I think in security, AI is going to help you deliver a better security posture to your organization and get more proactive on cybersecurity. If you're in IT, it's going to help you automate and deliver elasticity of IT infrastructure to your organization. I think for HR, it's going to transform how you interact with recruiting, with writing job descriptions, with finding new talent and bringing it into your organization. So I think if we're having this conversation in 2-3 years, it's going to be about, wow, I used to do it this way, and now I do it this way because the AI is helping me achieve something I didn't think I could achieve. And it's going to be for every role out there.
Well, Chris, we sure appreciate your taking time to talk to us at the Marketing Club of New York. We hope you can come back in a couple of years, maybe sooner, and tell us how it's going, where the advances are, and some of the key use case applications. But and we'll look forward to seeing the IBM coverage of U.S. Open tennis coming up in August and September. Thank you so much. I just want to thank our team who put this together, especially Teresa St. Jacques from Associated Conference Group, and Terry Gerber from IBM, and Casey Gaynor and Alicia Weidman, and our team at the Marketing Club of New York, and also our team at CBSI. Thank you to Chris. Thank you to everyone who put this together. Thank you for everybody who joined it. Very pleased. I appreciate you joining us today. I look forward to our next Marketing Club of New York Marketing Technology Showcase very soon. Thanks a lot. Have a good day.
Thanks, everybody.